Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. On this New Year's Eve, welcome in the Sports Chat with Mr. 33. I am he, Mr. 33. And today we just gonna, as I'm sitting here watching the college football playoffs, we just gonna go back until this time last year as we go through the year in review. And around this time last year, we was trying to figure out who was going to win the national championship. Right? Was it going to be Michigan? Was it going to be Washington? Was it going to be Alabama? Who was going to win it? Right? And we see that, later on in the beginning of the year, we see that Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, pulls a victory out for the Wolverines as they won for the first time in a very long time. I believe 98 was the last year they were co-champion. So we understood that, the land of college football was going to change. We understood that was going to be a new format coming into the end of the new year that was going to be 2024. So as we headed into that, right, we go into February. We get to February and we see, good evening, Tay. What up, Nye? So we get to February and we see that the Super Bowl has arrived and we have a rematch from a few years ago. Will Patrick Mahomes repeat as a Super Bowl champion against the vaunted 49er defense and this Mr. Irrelevant quarterback who came out of nowhere as a 7th round draft pick? Were they going to upset them? It was a very good game. And As we know, when you give time for Patrick Mahomes, you see greatness come out of him. And he showed it again as they repeated in the Super Bowl. Happy New Year's, Tay. And we ended up seeing for the first time in a very long time back-to-back championships in the NFL. And then we get into, the spring season, and we know with spring comes baseball, and we got the Los Angeles Dodgers. They was coming out like gangbusters. They just signed a $700 million man in Shohei Ohtani. They just got him from the well, not crosstown rivals, but the Los Angeles Angels, and they gave him this money just to come play with the likes of Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and guys of that nature. And then, as the season goes along, he's doing things that people are marveling at. He's hitting home runs. He hits 50 home runs. He hits, he hitting with a high average. He's close to a triple crown, which is batting average, home runs, and RBIs. And in the American League, we got Aaron Judge doing the same thing, hitting for home runs and average and RBIs. It was so close for Aaron Judge that he broke the American League record. And as he's breaking the American League record for home runs, we got Shohei Ohtani doing the one thing that nobody's ever done before. 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. So you got those two things going. And, they get down to the wire, in October, the baseball season is revving up for the World Series and the playoffs. And it just so happens that the American League MVP, which is Aaron Judge, faces the National League MVP, which is Shohei Ohtani. And then they match up in the World Series. The Dodgers dominate and they beat the Yankees for for Shohei Ohtani's first World Series. And in between those times, right, we got an NBA Finals a few months back, right? You go back to the NBA Finals, we got the Boston Celtics, the young guns, the 3-point shooters facing Luka Doncic, the dream sensation for the Dallas Mavericks, and Kyrie Irving trying to redeem himself for all the negative press and all the attributes that he had to go through during the COVID season. And I guess it was a shock for some people. We got the Boston Celtics winning the NBA Finals 4-2. And we got Jaylen Brown coming through with the NBA Finals MVP. And, there was some good seasons there. We had people coming out, showing up. We had certain teams show up. You had, noise from New York. You had noise from Indianapolis. You had noise from Minnesota. You had some young players coming up and showing out for the NBA last year. But at the end, it was the teamwork of the Boston Celtics that really came through and showed out for the NBA, and they represent the NBA as their world champions. We got the Olympics going on, right? We got individuals, representing their country. You got Sha'Carri Richardson representing the country. You got Katie Ledecky, the Iron Woman of swimming, the Michael Phelps of the female side of swimming. He went out there and represented. You got Noah Wiles winning the 100 meters. You had the whole country being represented against the world. And America came and showed up and showed out, winning the most gold medals. You had the you had the Olympic basketball team playing their hearts out. Had people gunning for them. You had France, you had Argentina, you got all these countries gunning for the United States and their basketball team. But when you have greatness there, you got LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. It doesn't matter how much you win by. It just shows that when you do your job and you have the greatest players in the world, you will come out on top. And speaking of greatness, can't forget Simone Biles, right? We got Simone Biles going out there. She becomes the greatest Olympic gymnast of all times. Just going out there doing what she do best, letting nothing complicate her, nothing stop her. Fresh, newlywed and all, married. Now she's going out there and still doing what she's doing, showing that you can be a wife and still do your thing that you love to do the best and still be great at it. So when I tell you guys the year was great, it was unbelievably great in the sports world. Right now we back at the end of the year. We starting to ask the questions now. Will there be a three-peat? Right? In the NBA, in the NFL. Speaking of three-peating, I forgot about the most controversial one. Well, not controversy, but we had college basketball. We had the women's college basketball. We had the South Carolina Gamecocks going out there and representing in the women's Final Four, taking care of business against a young lady called Caitlin Clark. And then Caitlin Clark, she gets to the Indiana Fever and gets drafted to them. And she comes in there and shows out. And in that league, we got another dominant person called Asia Wilson, who just the year before won back-to-back championships in the WNBA. And then we got Angel Reese, we got Collier, we got what is her name? Oh my God, Stewie, Breanna Stewart in the Liberty. So as they go to the finals in a great series, it may have I'm not going to say it put the ladies on the map, but it made them recognizable as all of the games except for one were down to the wire. In the women's championship game in the WNBA, they did what they had to do. And lo and behold, a team that was in the league from the beginning, they finally get to win a championship for the first time in 28 years. The New York Liberty, out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but they came out of out of hiding, because when you're an original team, you think you're supposed to win. And unlike the Knicks, they went there and they finished it off. They won a world championship in New York, even though it was in Brooklyn, but they won for the city, right? And they stopped the three-peat, of the Las Vegas Aces. And in the men's college Final Four, we see UConn. They repeated again. They went out there and showed out and won back-to-back championships. So in the world of sports, we had three teams that was trying to three-peat, something that's very hard to do. And we already know that one of them has fallen. As the Las Vegas Aces, they fell to the Liberty, the eventual champions. But when I tell you the competition was awesome in all of the world of sports, you had teams come out of nowhere. You had the Minnesota Lynx come out of nowhere in the women's game. You had the Dallas Mavericks go all the way to the NBA Finals. Was not expected to get there, but they made it to the NBA Finals. They just ran into a better shooting team, right? You had the Yankees and Dodgers in baseball. two preeminent teams, the baseball history between those two teams, whether it was the Yankees versus the Brooklyn Dodgers or the Yankees versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. We've seen a flashback into the old days where the East Coast would play the West Coast. And it was a show like no other for the Dodgers fan, not the Yankees fan, but the Dodgers fans, right? And now we're heading into 2025, and now we're asking the questions, right? As we getting ready to rev up the NFL playoffs, right? We see the Kansas City Chiefs. They still number one in the AFC, right? Back-to-back champions, 15-1 going into Sunday's game. The new year, 2025. They're 15-1 with a game left. Can they do it? Can they three-peat? Can something that hasn't been done since the 60s? Well, we can't say the Super Bowl era because when the Super Bowl first started, for those of you that don't know, it was the Green Bay Packers that won the first two, but they won the championship before the Super Bowl. So this will be the first time that a team will win 3 in a row if it's done. So we're looking for that. Are we going to see Josh Allen stop the Chiefs? Or are we going to see Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson do something that people wouldn't really want to see? But can they stop the Kansas City Chiefs from making the Super Bowl? And in the NFC, we see in history in the making that Saquon Barkley, fresh off his 2,000-yard season with one game to go, he has 101 yards to go to break the record set 40 years ago by Eric Dickerson. Is he going to be able to do that? We see the Detroit Lions are playing great football. We see the Vikings playing great football. We got the Eagles over there playing football. So we're looking ahead into next year to say who is going to stop the Kansas City Chiefs from the three-peat. As we look into this season of the college football postseason, for the first time expanded to 12 teams. It was an upset tonight in the making. Well, it's only an upset in ranking only. For most people who said Boise State shouldn't have been that high in the first place, but they went down to the Penn State Nittany Lions 31-14. Right? And we see that. We see hockey get ready to rev up, even though they just had a epic Stanley Cup Finals as Connor McDavid on his own try to bring the Oilers from a 3-0 deficit. It wouldn't have been upsetting if he'd have won Stanley Cup MVP. But we know the Florida Panthers did what they had to do, and they are now the champions going into 2025 as the season already starts. And as we've seen all this greatness, we've seen all these exciting things, we've seen people jumping backwards, we've seen history in the making in the NBA as LeBron James steps on the court with his son, something that has never been done. We lost a lot of sport people. We lost a lot of athletes, whether it's Pete Rose or Willie Mays, whether it's Jerry West, the logo of the NBA, or Bill Walton, whether it's the greatest baseball hitter of all times in Pete Rose, or the greatest stolen base man in all of baseball, Rickey Henderson. Whether it's Greg Gumbel, the broadcaster, right? We have lost people at the same time as we've seen all this greatness. So sports has been there for a lot of us this year. It's kept us calm and mild-mannered for the most part, keeping us away from the hustle and bustles of everyday life. And I am glad, even though I started late, I am glad to have been a part of the journey with some of you guys. Even when we talking about the WWE, we seen the bloodline go to waste. It gets shut down by Cody Rhodes, who finishes his story. A reign that was 3 years straight. Roman Reigns, world champion. They took the belts from him, split the belts up, did everything that they could to keep him irrelevant. And even after the passing of his dad in real life, he comes back and still remains relevant. He comes back with his own mantra of being the original tribal chief and keeping the WWE alive and active. So even in the sports and entertainment world, whether it's boxing, whether it's wrestling, we had things to keep us occupied. We had things to keep us away from the stress mode of everyday life, to keep us entertained, to keep us away from certain things in our lives. And we are just waiting to see what 2025 brings for us. Are the UConn men going to repeat? We don't know. We're excited about 2025 for the baseball season as people are switching teams. Juan Soto went from the Yankees to the rival Mets, the little brothers. Can he do what he did with the Yankees and take the Mets to the World Series? And as they haven't won in almost 40 years. We know what the football world is doing. We've seen tight ends break rookie records and receiving yard records. And we see the running back in pursuit of all-time rushing statuses. Right? We see LeBron James still playing at 40. He can't do nothing else but play basketball. He created history by stepping on the court with his son. He already got the all-time scoring record. What is left for this man to do? What we do know is we will be sitting here and we will bring you all the updates on Sports Chat with Mr. 33. We will be here, and I would love for you guys to be here with us to have those conversations. We know that 2025, even in the WWE, we know John Cena's fighting his last fight, his last year in the wrestling business, or so he says. We're going to find out if he do or he doesn't, but we're going to be here for it. He's going to start at the Royal Rumble. We'll be here for that. Changes is coming in 2025. Excitement is going to be building up in 2025. And we will have it all for you right here on Sports Chat with Mr. 33. You know, we started in August. We couldn't do the things that we wanted to do. But this year, we're going to do, as the year goes on, we're going to do some more things. Football fantasy drafts, basketball drafts, fantasy leagues, rather. We're going to have these things going. And as the channel grow, we're going to grow together. But I'm excited for 2025, and I want you guys to come on with me to see the excitement that happens in 2025. In the next couple of weeks, a Super Bowl champion will be named, crowned. We'll be here for that as well. So with that being said, y'all, if realist, what's going on with you? Happy New Year's. With that being said, you know, we just waiting for everything to start. We waiting for the countdown to go off. And as we bring 2025 in, we expecting some great things in that year. And it's just amazing, you know, doing something that you like to do or you love to do. I love talking about sports. Whatever sport it is, I can talk about it, whether it's boxing, whether it's football, baseball, golf. I was just talking about how Tiger Woods was enjoying himself with his son not too long ago. maybe a couple of weekends ago, right? It's just something about sports that can bring people together. It's just something about sports that can get you away from everyday scenarios. And for me, you know, it's just something that just I don't know how I become such a fan of sports. Well, I do, but that's all I knew growing up. That's all it was, you know, coming from where I came from. But now, sitting here watching it, talking about it with you guys, there's something about it that just brings me a joy to my heart. And I'm expecting to continue to do so as this time goes along. So, in a few minutes, the alter ego Busted Down Brown is going to bring in the New Year's. And we're gonna go over there and rock out with him, you know, see what he's talking about. He says 2025 is the year of completion. We're gonna hear what he's talking about over there. But as we end this 2024 year, as this year comes to a completion, I just invite y'all to come through in 25. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the conversations. Let's have fun and let's do this thing together. You know, we did, we'll get back to the football picks next year. We'll see what we do about, you know, the NBA picks of the day or whatever the case may be. We'll figure that out as we go along. But if 2024 was a good year for this channel, it may not be at the top, but the room for growth is the exciting part of it. And like I said, I really hope that you guys continue to ride out and watch it grow with me. But with all of that being said, Happy New Year's from the Channel 9 studio. Shout out to the channel, to the 9% family. Shout out to all of those that have been here supporting me this year. And like I said, I'll be over there on Busted Down Brown side in a few minutes as he bring in the New Year's with the peoples. And so with that being said, Commander, Happy New Year, man. With that being said, y'all, I'll be over there in a few minutes with y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Once again, Happy New Year's. I hope you guys had a good holiday. But there's some great things to come in the world of sports at 25. I will see y'all there. With that being said, y'all, I'm out.